The search for healthy aphrodisiacs is an ancient pursuit. Our journey takes us right here to Society Fair in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia, where acclaimed chef Cathal Armstrong has just the right recipe for romance. So they say Virginia and Society Fair, both for lovers, right?
That's right. Every day.
Every day.
3 times a day, some days.
Well, what is this recipe that will help us with that?
Well, we're going to do Gravlax, which is a classic Norwegian preparation of salmon.
Does Gravlax work as an aphrodisiac?
Of course it does.
You can tell us personally.
Yes, I know the truth.
Okay. Doctor, is there such a thing as an aphrodisiac, Dr. Phillips?
Well, technically speaking, the FDA does not allow anything to be called an aphrodisiac. But, you know, it's urban myth or just somebody taking the time out to buy good food and prepare it for their honey. That works.
So it's,
you know,
it's how you prepare it. It's the way for whom you prepare it. And
don't believe everything the FDA says.
And yeah, don't
and
believe
it doesn't make any difference.
And healthy. I mean, we need it to be healthy here.
Well, you know, salmon is supposed to help release serotonin. And serotonin is that feel-good substance in your brain. It's good for your arteries, got omega-3 fatty acids, so it gets your circulation going. It's great aphrodisiac.
And circulation is vital when it comes to love.
For both men and women.
Gets your heart racing.
Get your heart racing. There we go. All right, let's get our heart racing. How are we doing this?
So, to do Gravlax, we need salmon. And in here we have a side of salmon, which we cleaned earlier.
Wonderful.
So this is North Atlantic salmon, which is going to be better for Gravlax than the Pacific coast is, just because it's a little higher in fat. It has that, you know, that colder water. You pull that out from under me. Thank you, gentlemen.
So like is a king salmon less fatty?
Yes, the waters that the king salmon are found in are not as cold, so it doesn't need as much fat to keep itself at a temperate temperature inside, and you know, you just get that nice oily greasiness from the North Atlantic salmon.
How big is this? About?
So this is about 4 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So once it's clean, about 4 pounds. You can just pass me the plastic wrap there. I'm gonna.
That's not plastic wrap.
Take a sheet pan.
This is some plastic wrap. There we go.
Everything is large today.
Yes. That's at least.
Turn it around. Okay. Can you hold that for me, doctor?
You got it.
That sounds like an old joke too.
Yes.
Hold that for me, doctor. So we'll take a piece of plastic wrap and
urologist.
all right, yes. Lay it there. It's okay. Good to go. And then I'm going to lay the salmon down on top. And what we're doing here is salt curing. Okay, so we're going to use a healthy quantity of salt.
Now, when you say curing, okay, what does that mean? What are you drying it out?
Yeah, so salt absorbs moisture. It's going to pull a lot of the water out and changes the texture of the salmon. It also kills bacteria to a certain extent. So it's technically speaking a method of cooking. Even though it's raw, it's still cooked.
Still cooking it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 cups of salt and I have 1 cup of sugar.
Now, doctor, where are you with the? I mean, this is the cure, so to speak.
This is the cure.
You're good with cures.
Yeah, we're good because the sugar doesn't stay on, and you know I'm suspecting that the sugar doesn't get absorbed that much. You know.
Yeah, it just gives just a subtle sweetness to it. We'll add a little bit of mustard seed.
Which is also an aphrodisiac.
Well, okay, mustard seed is an aphrodisiac.
Mustard seed is an aphrodisiac. It's a body warmer.
So we just pour this over the salmon like this.
It's like, who knew?
And then, you know, you got to be gentle with the palms, right? And then we have some dill. Just want to break that up into pieces and just spread it over the top. We're talking about aphrodisiacs. It's not about being exact. It's not an exact science.
Wherever it takes you, right?
Okay, and then I have a little cognac. And you know, because
is that for the fish or for us?
Yes,
drink?
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
So because we don't use a lot in the recipe, I always make sure that I pick a good, very high quality cognac. You know, just sprinkle a little bit over the fish like this.
So that's not very much cognac for a big piece of fish.
No, just about a tablespoon total. And then...
You have to taste it and test it, right? Yeah. It's a good cognac?
Oh, yeah. That's got to be an aphrodisiac, too. Okay,
now, would you be able to tell if somebody left the cognac off?
Yeah, it does have a distinctive perfume, you know.
Yeah.
So I've seen recipes where they use cilantro and tequila instead of the classic recipe, which is made of dill, and it's just kind of gross. You know, just doesn't taste as good. Okay, so we'll take that, and then we'll put another tray on top like this. And then put a heavy weight on it and refrigerate it for 24 hours.
What does the heavy weight do? It just pushes everything in?
It's going to press it and help with the curing process. So, you know, this is industrial size. We're in a restaurant. Half size is going to work fine. If you have the half piece of salmon, just half the sugar and salt. And we'll set that in the refrigerator for about 24 hours. The classic recipe cures for longer than that. It's about 48 hours. But I like it with that still a nice supple quality.
Supple, yeah.
And if you leave it in too long, it just dries it out?
Yeah.
It's like jerky?
It's going to get dry and mealy.
Yeah.
Now, do some people put it like in a smoker or something when with that?
Yeah, so the process for smoked salmon, like Irish or Scottish smoked salmon, is they put a similar salt cure on. They wouldn't use the dill and the cognac, and then you rinse the salt off, and then that goes into a cold smoker, and that's how classic, you know, smoked salmon is made. It's the same idea.
It's great.
So after 24 hours, we're going to take it out and wash all the salt and the dill off and discard that.
So everything comes off, boom, 24 hours later, it's all taken off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so you have a nice cured piece, and you can feel it, touch it. It's got like a firm texture on the surface. And if you taste that part, try not to cut the doctor. The doctor is supposed to cut us. Just at the very surface, you'll find that part is actually somewhat salty.
How long does this take to work on me as an aphrodisiac?
It's working right now.
Right now.
Right
it's
now.
good.
That is awesome.
I gotta go.
That's it.
You'll see that part is a little bit salty, but as we get further into it,
does it? Does it change as you go deeper in?
Absolutely, absolutely, and you'll see that the color actually changes and the texture changes a little bit.
But it's cured all the way through. Look at that beautiful piece of
It's beautiful, beautiful and clear. So for this sauce, which is called Gravlax sauce, curiously enough, we have just a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of sugar, 1 tablespoon of each.
Doctor, I think we need a better name than Gravlax sauce.
Gravlax. Well, you know what I was going to say about the wine? You know what Shakespeare said about wine?
What's that?
He said, "It provoketh the desire, but it unprovoketh the performance." So a little bit of wine is good.
It's from Shakespeare. Hey, we're quoting Shakespeare.
That's an aphrodisiac. You're making me excited. So a couple of tablespoons of Dijon mustard and 2 tablespoons of Pomeré mustard. A couple of shallots, minced very finely. And then I'm just going to whisk in
vinegar,
a little bit of canola oil.
So in these situations, I mean, are there things that can be helped with a healthy diet? I mean...
Yeah, I think, you know, when you talk about salmon, you're talking about high protein, you're talking about good fat. There's a difference between good fat and bad fat. This has got omega-3 fatty acids, which, like I said before, you know, is great for the circulation. You know, you're not combining it with lots of heavy bread in this recipe. You're not, you know, it doesn't have the big heavy cream cheese. It's got a fairly light dressing. I mean, this is good stuff.
What did we miss that you put in?
So we whisked in a third of a cup of canola oil, and then just a little tablespoon of chopped dill, which is kind of the theme in this. And
so does that sort of bring it together with the
the
cure?
Kind of brings the whole thing. We did, if you remember, we had a little bit of mustard seed in the cure, and then the dill, and then a little onion is always going to be good with this dish. The idea is to be able to cut it as paper thin as possible. You know, so if you just watch, I have a very sharp knife, and I'm just kind of glide it
I'm just going parallel
back and
to
forth.
the fish.
I did say glide. This is a theme. It's a family show, right? So just you know, nice.
So I'll move my fingers from here over here.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. And it's all, you know, we like to challenge ourselves, so we want to see how thin we can actually get it. And then just to prepare a dish, just a few slices of the salmon like this on the plate, and then we'll just put a little bit of the sauce and just a couple of sprigs of dill.
Do you ever put anything like capers or caviar?
Yeah, I mean, the classic thing to do with this is going to be caviar and good, expensive, best quality beluga or Ossetra caviar you can find.
There you go.
Our budget didn't allow for that.
So. A little shot of vodka and we're good to go. And there you know, I mean,
that is awesome.
If you do that for your girl, you're home free.
Or if the woman does it for you.
Right.
That's it. I mean, this is 24-hour preparation. You know, the classic American diet up to this point. You know, we've been heavy on bread, heavy on, you know, meat, and I think that there's more and more of a movement towards healthy eating. And, you know, everybody and their brother is on anti-cholesterol, high cholesterol medications. And, you know, hopefully everybody's exercising a little bit more these days, eating a little bit less. It's all about portion size. You know, you don't need the big steak, small steak. You know, you don't need a huge hunk of fish even.
All right, we need to take a bite. We need to see, you know, both the taste and if it works. So you can go first, Dr. O.
This looks great. It was really
It's working on me. No, it's great. It is really, that sauce is.
The dill is great. It adds a little crunch. The sauce is great. I love mustard.
I think, yeah.
I love anything with mustard. It's great.
I think it's fair to say this is very romantic. Aphrodisiac, we'll have to wait and see.
We need some champagne.
But it will, yes. It definitely.
The question is, how long will this last?
You can get back to us on that. If
How
it lasts longer than 3 hours, see a doctor.
That's right. Who lives the closest?